Very heartbreaking news. Loudly crying face, the painful secret of BTS Jungkook. Loudly crying face, the heartbreaking truth behind his smile. Imagine a world where every step you take is measured, every breath you exhale is analyzed, and a single mistake can shatter the image of perfection you have spent a lifetime building. Imagine being 15 years old, standing in a city that feels too big, surrounded by strangers, holding on to nothing but a fragile hope. This is not a story about a pop star who conquered the charts. This is the story of Jeon Jungkook, a boy who had to sacrifice his youth to become the world's golden Maknae, and the quiet, often invisible battles he fought to keep his own soul alive. To truly understand Jungkook, we must look away from the blinding stage lights and focus on the shadows where he stood alone, questioning if he was ever truly enough. The story begins not with applause, but with rejection. Long before the stadiums chanted his name, Jeon Jungkook was just a shy teenager from Busan with big doe eyes and a quiet voice. He auditioned for a popular singing competition, Superstar K, hoping for a chance. The result was a cold, hard rejection. He was cut from the show. For a young boy, this could have been the end. It was a moment of public failure, a signal that perhaps he was not ready. However, fate works in mysterious ways. While the show rejected him, 7 entertainment agencies saw something raw and unpolished in him. He stood at a crossroads. According to various media sources, he could have chosen huge, established companies that guaranteed success. Instead, he chose a small, struggling agency called Big Hit Entertainment. Why? Not for fame, and not for money. He chose it simply because he saw a rapper named RM practicing, and for the first time, Jeon Jungkook felt a spark of inspiration. He followed his heart, a decision that would cost him his normal life. The training years were far from the glamorous montage we often imagine. They were brutal. Jungkook was the youngest, a child among young men. He was painfully shy. Reports from early staff members suggest that Jungkook was so introverted he would wait until everyone else fell asleep to take a shower because he was too afraid to be seen. He was a boy growing up in a dorm room, away from his parents, battling a crushing wave of homesickness. There were nights when he missed his mother so much he cried into his pillow, wondering if he had made a mistake. He was not the golden Maknae yet. He was just a kid trying to survive in a ruthless industry. His dance trainer once told him that his dancing had no emotion, that it was lifeless. To a sensitive teenager, these words cut deep. To fix this, he was sent to Los Angeles for dance training. It was a period of intense isolation. He was in a foreign country, barely speaking the language, pushing his body to the limit. Fans often talk about his talent, but they rarely see the bruised knees and the exhaustion that came with it. He returned to Korea better, but the pressure only increased. When BTS finally debuted, Jungkook was given the title Golden Maknae, the youngest member who is good at everything. While it sounded like a compliment, it was a heavy chain to wear. It meant he was not allowed to fail. He had to be the best singer, the best dancer, the center. If he faltered, the illusion would break. One of the most heartbreaking revelations of his inner world came during the group's star show 360 appearance years later. Jungkook, who rarely spoke about his feelings, broke down in tears. He confessed that his own physical exhaustion did not matter to him. He could handle the pain, the lack of sleep, the broken body. What broke him, he admitted through sobs, was seeing his older brothers, the other members, struggling mentally. He felt helpless. He said, "I can't do anything for you." This moment revealed the core of his trauma, a deep-seated fear of being a burden and an overwhelming empathy that made him carry the weight of everyone else's pain. He was absorbing the stress of 6 other men, trying to be their strength while he was still figuring out who he was. As the years passed and BTS climbed to heights no Korean act had ever reached, the shadow of imposter syndrome began to creep in. In 2019 and 2020, amidst global stardom, Jungkook faced a period of profound self-doubt. In a verified interview during the Break the Silence documentary, Jungkook questioned his own worth. He asked, "Am I really valuable enough to be the main vocal of this team?" He spoke about looking at other artists and feeling small, feeling like he was lagging behind. It is a shocking admission for someone the world considers a prodigy. He felt he had to wear a mask of perfection. When the cameras were on, he was the energetic, unstoppable Jungkook. But when the cameras turned off, media reports and his own confessions hint at a young man who felt hollow, constantly chasing a standard he felt he couldn't reach. The concept of burnout is something Jungkook has hinted at, particularly in the era following their massive English-language hits. Success brought isolation. Being famous meant he could not step outside for a walk. He could not meet friends without causing a scene. His world shrank to the size of a hotel room. In several live streams on Weverse, millions of fans watched a Jungkook who just wanted to connect. He would fold laundry, wash dishes, or even fall asleep in front of the camera. While some found it entertaining, a deeper look reveals a touching humanity. It was a cry for normalcy. It was a young man trying to bridge the gap between the idol on the screen and the human being sitting on his couch. He admitted in interviews during his solo promotions for Golden that there were times he felt lazy, times he lacked ambition, and times he just wanted to do nothing. This honesty was not weakness. It was a brave rejection of the robotic perfection the industry demands. Then came the solo era. Standing alone on stage without his 6 brothers was perhaps his biggest test. Performing at the FIFA World Cup in Qatar was a moment of immense tension. The entire world was watching. One wrong note, one slip, and the criticism would be merciless. Yet, Jungkook stood tall. But even after such triumphs, he remained grounded in a way that is almost disarming. He constantly credits his fans, army, for his achievements. This isn't just PR. It is a psychological anchor. Jungkook seems to battle the fear that without the fans, he is nothing. This fear drives him to work harder, sometimes to the point of collapse. During the recording of his solo album Golden, producers noted his perfectionism. He would record the same line dozens of times, never satisfied, always believing he could be better, always running away from the fear of being average. Why do people love Jungkook? It is not just because he can hit high notes or dance with precision. It is because of his vulnerability. It is because he is the superstar who bows 90 degrees to the staff. He is the millionaire who gets excited about convenience store food. He is the global icon who reads comments from fans and gets teary-eyed. Stories from backstage staff often circulate in media, describing Jungkook as the one who stays behind to help clean up wires or pick up trash. This humility is his true strength. It is a sign that despite the billions of streams and the platinum records, he has never forgotten the 15-year-old boy who was rejected. He carries that boy with him, ensuring that he never becomes arrogant, never takes a single cheer for granted. However, the journey is far from over, and the emotional tension remains. The decision to enlist in the military was a significant turning point. For a male celebrity in Korea, enlistment is a daunting pause. It is a time when the spotlight fades, and they return to being just a number in a uniform. Before he left, Jungkook wrote a heartfelt letter to fans. He didn't ask them to wait. He asked them to be healthy. Even in his departure, his concern was for others. Rumors and reports from the military training centers suggest he has taken on the role of a cook, serving his fellow soldiers. This detail is poignant. The hands that held microphones for millions are now preparing meals for his unit. It speaks to his adaptability and his willingness to serve, no matter the context. As we look at Jungkook today, we see a man who is slowly learning to forgive himself for not being perfect. His future dreams, as he has mentioned in various contents, are simple. He wants to be a singer who can touch hearts for a long time. He wants to be a person who is real. The tattoos on his hand, the piercings, the changing hairstyles, these are not acts of rebellion, they are acts of reclaiming his own body. For years, he belonged to the agency, to the group, to the public. Now, he is fighting to belong to himself. There is a quiet tragedy in growing up in front of a lens. Jungkook never had a normal adolescence. He skipped graduation parties for rehearsals. He missed family gatherings for concerts. He traded his privacy for our entertainment. And yet, he smiles. He smiles not because it is easy, but because he has found a purpose in the pain. He has realized that his voice can be a light for others who are struggling in the dark. As the screen fades to black, take a moment to think about the boy from Busan. Think about the nights he cried alone in a dorm room, the days he danced until his feet bled, and the moments he felt unworthy of the love he received. Jungkook is more than a member of BTS. He is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. He teaches us that it is okay to be afraid. It is okay to cry. And most importantly, he teaches us that even if you feel small and invisible, you have the power to turn into gold. The applause will eventually fade. The lights will one day dim. But the respect for Jeon Jungkook, the man, not the idol, will remain. Because his greatest achievement was not topping the Billboard charts. His greatest achievement was losing his childhood to the world, and struggling through the darkness to find himself again. And as he marches in his uniform today, somewhere far away from the stage, we hope he finally knows. He is enough. He has always been enough.